Okay, and I've done this before as far as quoting John Lennon for my poems, but here's another one for him. It's called I Don't Believe in Beatles, I Just Believe in Me. And then this one says, I Just Believe in Me. That's my title. I don't believe in Balboa High, I just believe in me. I don't believe in the power of poetry, only that I be. I do these things, but they're not what makes me free. I don't believe in love, I just believe in me. Thanks to them. I'm one of the millions that you've inspired, buddy. Okay, here's one about one of my students. This is called her ADD goofing off. It's Friday and I'm tired. And if that can be done, chew out the ADD flavored 16-year-old wondering why she's getting up in the middle of band class to get gum from one of the mainstream students. She's big and she doesn't do much work, and she's so boy-oriented that she'll jump at any opportunity to flirt, put her head on a boy's shoulder, hold hands. Her school day, at least in band class, involves talking to boys and girls and not, as far as I can tell, paying any attention to the young, vibrant band teacher. I want to wait and leave this class when the bell rings, she and her sad eyes bulging to something or someone she may or may not need. All right. Thank you. This is called Everybody. Everybody needs something from me. Obviously, I don't have it all. Everybody needs something from me. All out of breath most of the time. I give all I have, and they're almost never satisfied. Seems with kids with broken bodies and minds, and at my job, my best friend, my landlady who provides me with no closet, and almost nothing, and almost a constantly stopped up toilet. I toil in her yard and buy her groceries at the Safeway store. Everybody needs something from me. I used to need, and I guess I still do. It's just that it seems almost irrelevant. The students don't change. Okay. This is called I Think. I think that most people's lives are boring and crazy, and luckily mine seems neither. Their comments about my difficult yet interesting job taking care of the sick and emotionally needy are harsh. It seems that work is unimportant to some people, even those young and able enough to work. I think most people's lives are boring or crazy. I hope that doesn't sound arrogant. This is about the most interesting woman I know. This is called 2L. I'm enamored of your bed because I'm enamored of you. I love it because I love you. You fall asleep on the sofa away from it. No boyfriend to be near, just your friend, me. How much time have I used up?
You got a minute and 30 seconds.
Okay.
We got so much time, I mean, we could do 2 rounds.
The day, this is called the day. The day was rough, especially at the beginning and the end. The head teacher, who doesn't know how to do anything for herself, had me Xeroxing on the complicated photocopier. The beginning of the day was equally bad in a different way, about as non-clerical as you get, with my student bawling his 6-foot, 200-pound head off by the back gate, then over to where the bus driver was turning around to go home, and And the bus driver said to me, I don't want to hit him when I turn around. And so, but he continued to moan, the kid did. I continued throwing more of a fit. No, he continued throwing more of a fit. He almost made me do that, you know. And wound up not going to first period class at all. Is Russell coming? The other aide says, and I explained the situation, and we're off on this day that doesn't seem to get any better. Tomorrow better be better. Okay, that's it.
Number two. Who's number two?
All right. It was me.
All right. Chris?
Okay, Chris.
Okay, there you go. Now, I have just one poem, so I do a little explanation here. This one just won't behave, but it's Deirdre, and you know that she doesn't behave either. This is an owl. This used to be my goddaughter Lynx, but I turned her into an owl, and if you can see here, that's my cat Bastet on her, because the cats and the owls are represented. Then I've been trying this new kind of style, like that. It's decorative things. You never know what's going to sell. The Native American Trayvon Martin, Martin Luther King. That's Deirdre right there. Pretty recognizable, you know. The Ross, the guy, and Toni Morrison, and Deirdre there. So anyway, here we go. Rust, Egypt, all Father. I paint to reggae, and I worship my kitty Bastet and dance for joy in paint and canvas and on paper, because I'm too poor to buy canvas and paper, and I can't even write. Anyway, I can't afford to buy paper, and I squeeze the paint out of the tubes like a lover squeezes passion out of a girl under a full moon while worshiping the Egyptian gods and Jah and Rasta and the goddess, and also All-Father Odin and Freya, goddess of cats, as I worship the kitties and Deirdre and I worship them wearing her Bastet jewelry, which she wears at every party she goes to, because she is Deirdre, my lover, and together we have so much fun because we're kids at heart and never grow up. And it's never a dull moment, and the world is fairyland like Douglas Fairbanks and Mary Pickford's Pick Fair. And we are poor poets and artists, not movie stars in Hollywood, though people say we look like movie stars and dance and play like movie stars. And Deirdre even has these giant movie star glasses she brought from a Medi-Cal eye doctor who is a total babe and used to want to fuck me until she realized I was an old fart and can't get it up with anyone but Deirdre, my queen. And when we die, we will go to Fairyland, Broceliand, Summerland with the Fairy Queen, with Titania, played so beautifully by Michelle Pfeiffer. What a goddess. And we are all gods and goddesses. We even know it. When one day, everybody will know it, if we don't blow ourselves to cat food. But I have the audacity of hope, written by a good man, whom the evil bastard just won't let him lead us into Dr. King's promised land. So hail the Rasta Egyptian Asarta goddesses and gods, and even old Jesus hanging on the cross in imitation of Odin, hanging on a tree, calling for redemption, for St. Bob Marley, for joy, 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 because the only power worth having is the power to invoke joy.
right, next we'll have Bill.
Well, I was rummaging around trying to find some rain poems, but I didn't do too well. But I found a few haikus. So I'm gonna as in the tradition of jumps around. Aha. So as in the tradition of haiku, I'll read them twice. And since I only got a couple. Rain taps on the roof. Angels dancing overhead. Moses' moon parts clouds. Rain taps on the roof. Angels dancing overhead. Moses' moon parts clouds. Rain knocks on my door. Hello, dear friend, will you help me sprout this poem? Rain knocks on my door. Hello, dear friend, will you help me sprout this poem? Street light flickering, random rhythmic light in the rhythmic random rain. Wind wore his top coat to see his banker with rain for collateral. Wind wore his top coat to see his banker with rain for collateral. I skipped doing the rhythm on for the second time. That one time's enough on that. Rain spoke in riddles at the fireman's ball, and the moon wore galoshes. Rain spoke in riddles at the fireman's ball, and the moon wore galoshes. Slow rain taps on roof, Morse code of primal wisdom. Suddenly, cloudburst. Slow rain taps on roof, Morse code of primal wisdom. Suddenly, cloudburst.
Okay, next is Owen Dunkel.
Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
My latest poem. Poema Arlie Waste. I am at the beach, walking along. The white waves were like huge coiffures, the wind blowing to keep the air cold and stiff as the stars. The stars stiff us, occasionally using the black night, occasionally giving the black night a beam of light. The nature of metaphor is peculiar as a star, but not like stolid and fluffy clouds. The Fallen Shoe, a poem in prose. A cup of courage captivates the soul of the ballet of balls and balustrades. Capture the sound of shoes as they mutter their squeak with impossible aloofness. Shoes are the man on the street to the dandified boots, the impression they give of the self-made Jamesian American aristocrat. Out to show the world of ordinary shoes, what the streetwise poseur is all about. They lift the not worn out wearer to braggadocio and yes, profundity. I feel sorry for this poem. I wander as Ishmael, wander through the lonely day, try as I may to be. My knowledge sits on a mountain, high above the furtive ends and ways. Nothing alone, nothing. I'm the opposite of alone. I wander like a bone to be fed to the dog, a dog. A cur does not purr like a cat. I am trapped like a rat in a cage. I feel no rage. I am as stationary as a sage. This is one page of poetry. That is an attempt at metaphor without logic. I feel sorry for it is pedagogic. I am the poet I dream about. The morning of the fate of the stars. I feel stripped of the cares and the stares of the many. People walk by. I sigh for their wishes. That is, I think they wish, and I'm glad that they are here, and nothing more than the air. My thoughts are one with the sun, and they try to reach the evasive moon that hides from the day and coldly wishes us good night. I am stuck with myself alone and with no one else. Is the poet a dreamer? I dream, and I know how many sides a one-dimensional brown triangle has. At the beach, the dark traces of the shadows of seagulls' wings, those ruffled rococo titans, the waves, salute the empty tide pools, shining as shine mirrors. Cafe Trieste. To be a Triestano, that is a Cornozenti. You are solemn, tough, happy, pedantic, profound, and are enjoying every second of your peculiar sovereignty. You have invented your own state of things. You're a sports fan and are conventional, that is, I see you as conventional, insofar as you are normal and have the normalcy to cry at funerals and rejoice at weddings. You are happy in your normalcy as it stands to reality and the glories of your imagination. Agnus Dei, after Robert Lowell. Apart from it all, I sit in a small corner. I see things with my eyes, a few suited passers-by. This is the Trieste Cafe. The title to this poem comes from sacred music, a prayer. Agnus Dei means Lamb of God. I search for a metaphor. The whole cafe is a poem I could not write. The tables are filled with people. There are no metaphors around, nothing. Grand Street is quiet, and that is that. There is emphasis on emptiness without a poem. I heard myself. Am I limited or are they? Whose confused confession is it? Mine or theirs? Four short poems. Raven noises defile the air. It scares the pigeons. 2. Bleak thoughts, bleak thoughts. My mind cries for a sentence. My mind, my mind. My mind becomes the wind for a split second, then becomes the air. The quiet vanishes. At the Trieste, I'm writing right here. 4. The wind of puke and throb, the puke of air. I do easily scare. My wits are elsewhere.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, next is Louis Barton. Let's give a hand to him.
Something beautiful. Like flowers, pink and white, like a garden with a path that leads somewhere you want to go. Like the fresh smell of hair that has just been washed, like a single long-stemmed rose in a slender milk-white vase, like the fluffy fur of a kitten stretched out on the floor. Like sunlight penetrating the clouds and casting spots of glinting light over the ocean. Like your lips close to mine, exciting my heart. like an open bottle of wine on a table, like coffee black and shiny in cups with saucers, like the taste of strawberry jam on buttered toast still warm, like the touch of your hand on my cheek, like a faint smile that says I'm all you desire, like a clean bed with a crack of morning sunshine coming through the window, like the first light ever, like soft music being played in another room, like being stretched out, all the muscles of the body relaxed, toes pointing, like time stopped, having run out, and now compressed into a single meaningful essence in which all things happen at once, like being and consciousness stretched out across the universe, like one big breath of life that contains everything, like camels in the desert, mountain streams, a blade of grass, a snowflake, clear stars dazzling the night, the universe vibrating like taut strings of a violin. Something beautiful. No final bill. I want to be like by trying to embrace the reflection of the moon in the river, or I want to die like Hart Crane throwing myself overboard on an ocean liner in a fit of passion. I would even be willing to shoot myself in the head like Ernest Hemingway if I had to, or take poison like George Sterling. I would be happy sort of falling downstairs and breaking my neck, well, with a drink or two in me. I wouldn't like it a lot, but it would be okay to be shot by robbers or blown up by terrorists. But oh, I just don't want to die in a hospital bed surrounded by the latest electronic gadgets of the medical profession, with a nurse asking, how are we doing? And an accountant down the hall calculating the final bill. Is it art? His voice sounded like a wood rasp hitting a nail. Wanna fuck your baby, wanna fuck your baby, wanna fuck your baby tonight! He threw his guitar into the air, then jumped on it when it came crashing down on the stage. Was this art, or was it a tantrum? The last days of a culture coming undone. Doing it your way, says the ad, with the image of a young man supine on sofa, slick laptop on bare belly. Was art effortless, requiring no work at all, just releasing the creative spirit within after forking out $3,000 for a computer or a guitar, of course? Or does a flower blossom only after planting the seed, watering the soil around it, warm rays of sunshine, then the struggle to be? Each and every grain of rice is hard, bitter work, says the ancient Chinese poem, now as ever. Art is fantasy, but not that of a media professional with a big budget.
So there's so few poets here, I think we'll just go through all of us and then have Clark's mini feature, maybe three-quarters feature. And then we'll have our little special presentation. And then I want you to eat lots of food, okay? And then that's it, we'll do it tonight. All right, so first I have a haiku. Path through the forest, bright sun, and long cool shadows, deep, deep mystery. Elder sister goose fusses about her flock of sisters and brothers, honking with annoyance at their playing on the meadow, until at last resort she lifts her great wings and threatens violence if things don't go her way. The others have been thinking about leaving and will one day. Meanwhile, they put up with her bossiness because they are told she is the most gifted and wise of them all. But some are skeptical. They look into the great distance and imagine flying long ways in V formation across the great central valley, until they are exhausted but free. For now they nestle down in thought with the sunset. Attention poets, light rain sinks in only an inch. Deeper meaning comes only with a downpour. There's one called Hot Stuff. The Great Spirit wears a business suit and arrives every day at a high-rise in downtown San Francisco. He is Sufi and conducts his ceremonies in private. There is no telling what he will come up with day by day. It is said he has his eye on the bigger picture, but skeptics muse that his thinking is random. One thing is clear, he wishes to be accepted as the boss by at least a few disciples, if not everybody. Great Spirit, celestial switchboard operator, are you really in charge of all this, or are you the Wizard of Oz and the humbug? Old-fashioned oratory does not become you. I will search for you between the bow and the string. Okay, next. We have the great Greg Bond. Welcome, Greg Bond.
You want to take over after you read? Take over? Sure.
Okay, I've got a few. A couple that aren't mine. This one is for this day. It's called The Rainy Day, and it was written by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The day is cold and dark and dreary. It rains, and the wind is never weary. The vines still cling to the moldering wall, but at every gust the dead leaves fall, and the day is dark and dreary. My life is cold and dark and dreary. It rains and the wind is never weary. My thoughts still cling to the moldering past, but the hopes of youth fall thick in the blast, and the days are dark and dreary. Be still, sad heart, and cease repining. Behind the clouds is the sun still shining. Thy fate is the common fate of all. Into each life some rain must fall. Some days must be dark and dreary. That's Rainy Day by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Actually, Chris's poem or entry to this evening reminded me of this particular poem.
Oh, thank you.
And it's called Bastet.
Oh.
A cat of charcoal black sat, poised and relaxed, on a crescent curve, round the edge of midnight, statuesquely idle and unperturbed, long tail dangling in a saxophone curl, attached to the outer rim of the world. A cat of navy blue black sat like a silhouette with its back against the ether of outer space, poised like an Egyptian Bastet, regal priestess, ebony face, daughter of the sun, feline protector of the race. A cat of midnight black sat, claws retract and relaxed, on a saxophone curl, under the shadow of a crescent moon, on the dark side of the world. And one more. And this particular poem was written by one of the Beat Generation poets, Bob Kaufman.
Oh.
And it's entitled Bagel Shop Jazz. Shadow people projected on coffee shop walls, memory formed echoes of a generation past, beating into now. Nightfall creatures eating each other over a noisy cup of coffee. Mulberry-eyed girls in black stockings smelling vaguely of mint jelly and last night's bongo drummer, making profound remarks on the shapes of navels, wondering how the short sunset week became the long Grand Avenue night. Love-tinted beat angels, doomed to see their coffee dreams crushed on the floor of time, as they fling their arrow legs to the heavens, losing their doubts in the beat. Turtleneck angel guys, black-haired dungaree guys, Caesar-jawed with synagogue eyes, world travelers on the 41 bus, mixing jazz with paint talk, high rent, Bartok, classical murders, the pot shortage, and last night's bust, lost in a dream world where time is told with a beat. Coffee-faced Ivy Leaguers in California, whose personal Harvard was a Fillmore district, weighted down with Congo drums and the ancestral cross, the Othello-laid curse, talking of Bird and Diz and Miles, and the sweet, terrible hurts, wrapped in cool hipster smiles, telling themselves under the talk, this shot must be the end, hoping the beat is really the truth. The guilty police arrive. Brief, beautiful shadows burn on the walls of night. Bagel Shop Jam.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg.
Are you Zane?
Oh, yes.
Okay, it's Zane's turn. Welcome, Zane.
Hi, everyone. The world slowly spinning upwards and expanding, spreading apart, drifting into new dimensions, falling slowly, effortlessly, flipping, breathing success at the sinner on the down low. Feel the world behind your dignity, shredding paper like we committed a crime, wasting life, wasting evidence, sending our trash off to God knows where. We should start burning it ourselves. The priest shot himself in the head, yeah, seen it, blood all over his nice chapel white gown. You want to know what his last words were? Hey yo, fuck this shit. American suicide's higher than car crashes. We witness murder slowly seeping into the fingernails, scratching fingers, strumming skin like a violin, spilling and singing red. It starts there and keeps going into the dark night. Smiles in the morning, happy faces getting twisted left and right, fisted, battered onto concrete, spilling, but that's only a figment of sickened imagination. It's just the sadness of a nation drawn up by slave owners seeking freedom and the right to a pursuit of happiness. Ayo, fuck this shit. Hypocrisy laced into the backbones, breaking slowly from hunching over in fear or neglect. Worldly desires playing like trumpets in the street, lining the sidewalks, praising Jesus himself. Believe me, I saw it with my own eyes. I saw his rise to fame. I saw his demise. Welcome to my lies. I mean my life. My nice little slice of living is something worth giving a couple shits about, because even though we get pissed and shout, these doubts will fade like the waves into nightfall, still moving, still breathing, rising and receding, but not visible. You learn to not dangle your ankles over cliff bluffs no more. Just because you were too weak to feel tough anymore does not mean you will not get strong again. Along the past there was brighter and greener grass. There were those pretty flowers that never seemed to last. There were repetitions. riding up the stairs, past the stairs of the people shimmering in, past windows, past chapels, past assholes, just screaming out in lashful words because the meaning was found, screaming profanities from car windows. We are young, spraying paint on the places where there shouldn't. We are young, their breeze wafts over cool, the sun warms. We are young, hugging for longer than ever before. We were young, holding hands past breakup. We were young, smooth hands and short blonde hair. We were young, grass fields and smiles that were pure, that for sure meant something beautiful. We were young, backseat Volvo in college parking lots and canyons. We blew smoke and prayers up to jaw the clouds, the trees wafting away in seconds of the purified essence of the loss of innocence. We were young. We played out heartstrings and strung them with bones from our rib cages. We were young. There were bad days when we were young. She loves you. It didn't matter. I was young, stood at the edge of cliffs wondering. I was young, looking down at the ground, seeing footsteps instead of faces, transfixed onto avoiding any eye contact. I was young. There's one constant to this human existence, at least till death. Our hearts beat and bleed. The river floats down sweetly, reminding you of mirrors floating around peace, sweeter times. The wind shines, not smashing but clinging to each other, clanging for the earth in ecstasy with the wind. Gut-wrenching metal rusted, shimmering off evening sun-faded, red-jeweled cartoon hearts symbolizing the thing that I felt beat against mind that understood mine, till we drew lines and went off where the sun shines on another beach with the lifeboat while the water was filling mine, left me to sink. The good things school taught me how to think and not just go over the brink of an analogy, because truly they are just fallacies wrapped up in the tongue, spitting poison on the girls and the boys, celebrating the noise, scratching down stucco walls with razor blades, scraping away fragments of history, of something someone else built for you, for the hardworking American that you were supposed to be. Thank you.
All right. Boy, you're the hottest thing around. I tell you, yeah.
That was good. And here's Sonia Molansky. Give her a hand, Sonia. Is this your first time here?
Yeah.
Yeah. You look like my goddaughter.
Thank you.
That's a compliment.
Thank you. I figured. All right. So this is kind of just like a flow of the flow of consciousness. It's kind of just like whatever you think you write down at the moment. All right. So this one's from like a few hours ago. I wandered into it naive and trusting. Low expectations and high hopes. That's how you're supposed to live, right? Like a newborn feeling air and seeing light for the first time. It's beauty mixed with pain, fear. It doesn't seem real. Sometimes when I breathe deeply, I can feel my ribs tighten and it makes me feel human. We forget that we're alive sometimes. We forget that breathing is necessary. We forget that if the world was a peach, the atmosphere would be its fuzz. That is what we're living on.
Yeah.
We're so goddamn tiny and feel so big, like a yapping chihuahua to a Doberman. Sometimes being empty feels good, and sometimes indulging myself feels right. My grasp was tight on the wheel. I'm about to break, but instead I burst out into a shrilling scream, and then stinging tears start to flow. Pain. It feels good to have pain sometimes, and it feels good to bite down. When my brain has finally melted out of my tear ducts, and my body is limp, and the only thing I can do is sink, that's when I find raw peace. It reminds me that nothing is as important as the mind. Everything that happens to me is real, even if it isn't. Today I'm okay.
Oh, she's got one time
I don't know what else.
Good report.
that went off.
That was excellent.
It's, yeah. When they fight like fire, so small and frail. His frame overpowers her. Glass breaks over the wall. Is this the sound of love? You will never have anything better than me. Words scar more than any cut. Bruises cover her thin, bony arms. Nobody intervenes. They have their own problems. Tomorrow they eat lunch at the Brigantine and smile at the waitress. Okay. I don't know. These are kind of just like memories that I wrote down. So I guess here it goes. You ever held a gun before, he said, with a yellow grin and a burning cigarette hanging out the side of his mouth? He slid the cold metal towards me with a sly grin. He stared at me with his droopy red eyes, finding pleasure in my innocent, naive reaction. It was heavy, and we were high. There was spaghetti in front of us. Just a single one of these bullets can kill a man. He liked to remind himself that. These specific bullets were meant for maximum harm. They split off into a million pieces once one shot was fired. I think I'm just gonna stop there.
You guys are good. Wow. We're gonna try to put this up a little more.
And last but not least, Garrett Murphy.
Yeah.
Welcome, Garrett.
Truth or Consequences to Vexengo. Hello, good listeners, and welcome to today's edition of Truth or Consequences to Vexengo. I'm your host, Reed Alley Tibbet, and our object is to tell the truth of things as opposed to our misinterpretation of the truth. Our contestants for today's edition are Bill Robinson, patriarch of the clan in the pseudo-reality show Duck Dynasty, Maria Conchita Alonso, singer and actress of Some Long Time Ago, Tom Perkins, venture capitalist and billionaire of Little Imagination, and a representative of the Oakland Police Department, so cowardly we needed to disguise and distort his image and voice. Welcome, contestants, and let's start telling the truth. Remember, if you fail to answer a question at all, answer it correctly, or tell a misinterpretation of the truth, the buzzer goes off and you must pay the consequences. At the end of our show, one of you will win our grand prize concealed inside our golden box. Here's to you, Mr. Robinson. You will go first. What truth, sir, will you tell? My truth is dark with homosexual behavior and just more often there into bestiality. And black people were godly. They were happy to live under Jim Crow, pre-entitlement, pre-welfare. No one was singing the blues. They were singing it happy. Buzz. I'm quite sorry, Mr. Robinson. You have told your truth instead of the truth. Therefore, you will have to pay the consequences. And in your case, take a look at the numbers for your show. They are significantly lower than before. I agree you have failed to consider that some of your earlier videos just might have been of the two groups you have alienated and have now dropped you like a hot potato. And to say nothing of your temporary suspension by your network. You also get the consolation prize of a hat, a combination of the KKK hood and the dunce cap saying Dunce Dynasty embroidered on the brim, and you are of course eligible for the golden box. Next up is Miss Alonso. Tell us, madam, what is the truth? The truth is, Mr. Tibet, that Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez are dictators like Hitler, and those who vote for and support Chavez are terrorists. Barack Obama wants to emulate the rather well economic policies of those countries and negotiate with their leaders. He wants to make the United States more like Venezuela under the Chavez government. Buzz. I'm so sorry, Miss Alonso, but you have also told your misinterpretation of the truth, and you will have to pay the consequences. You had been slated to appear in a local production of the Vagina Monologues, we were told, but appear not anymore. We have your letter of resignation for participation in the production. You need to sign right there on the bottom line. And as a postscript, we have contributed a banner on your behalf. Please excuse our modifications of word between the first two here, quotations on the last word there. Here it is, sold out to an American. But you can still win the golden box. Please wait there beside Mr. Robinson. Well, Mr. Perkins, you're next. What is the truth? The truth is, Mr. Tibet, that there are parallels between Nazi Germany's war on the 1%, namely the Jews, and the progressive war on the 1%, namely the rich. It's a very dynamic shift in our American thought. Buzz. And last, Mr. Perkins, you too have misinterpreted the truth and must also pay the consequences. In your case, you are hereby stigmatized as a laughing stock and have been fined 1% of your earnings to be distributed evenly among every progressive charity you care to name. I must protest. Not to worry, Mr. Perkins, it's all already been withdrawn from your accounts. In the meantime, you can wait right there and you can still win the golden box. Now our final contestant, the unknown cop. What is the truth? The truth is that the city of Oakland needs to stop rolling over for whoever screams aloud at the city council meetings. The city is hamstrung by political correctness and foiled liberal agendas. Buzz. A pity, officer. You have only told your delusion about the truth and not very originally at that. So you must pay the consequences, consisting of continual federal oversight and posters spotlighting you as one of those rural cops known for excessive force, harassment, and profiling. plus a lifetime supply of tissues to wipe away the crocodile tears you and your cohorts shed over having to taste your own medicine for a change. And of course, continued eligibility for the Golden Box. So now we are in the final round. Who were our Golden Box winner be? Bill Robinson, Maria Conchita Alonso, Tom Perkins, or the unknown cop, the attention mounts. And the winner is Mr. Tom Perkins. And inside our Golden Box is a lifetime supply of miniature violins programmed to play extremely sad songs. And our other contestants will receive a consolation prize that says Zobo boxes containing a year's supply of those miniature violins playing sad songs. Which goes to show that those who reach consequences the most are quite likely the ones who really need them the most. Ding! And that is the truth. I'm Reed Alley today, and tune in next time for another edition of Troop of Consequences to Next and Go. A truthful production for those who only like consequences for others and never for themselves.
Good.
Yeah, I'm determined to make it.
So now everybody's had a chance to read. We're gonna have the feature, and then we'll have our raffle, which is, I think, just going to be a giveaway. And then we'll have a little group shot here at the mic. I think we'll all get together for the camera, and I'll tell you later. And I want you to please consider having something else to eat or drink before you leave. All right. So now I want to introduce the incomparable Clara Sue. I forgot my reading glasses. I'd like to read from my book of short stories, Babouche, Impromptu, and Other Moroccan Sketches. I was in Morocco a few times, and in 2007 I was there for 2 weeks to celebrate my 52nd birthday. So I'd like to read one story, and I would begin with a poem. The sand. The hourglass tips. Sand escapes from the narrow opening. I don't see the hourglass, only its mouth, a hole somewhere in my brain, and the sand keeps pouring. Fast and furious, obscuring my sight, sucking me into its momentum, taking the body out. Oh no, we don't need that body. I move with the sand, moving forward or maybe backward, depending on how you look at things. Once to let go, it takes only seconds to reach millennium, and there is no stopping. Someone appears in my periphery. Something looks like a mud wall, but I'm blurred by the speed of motion and the sand. Two brown-skinned men, sunken eyes, weathered faces in dirty white turbans and indigo robes. Between them, a pinky girl in ragged dress. Arms down her sides, her big eyes stare as the sand rains down. I ride through her hair, and she feels me as the wind, but seeing them I know at once, this is where I was. Only too much sand had come between us. The first time I went to Morocco, I landed there at night in Marrakesh, which is the southern part of Morocco. So we didn't see anything because it was pitch dark. Then the next day we walked into an ancient square, and it is called Jamal Afna Square. And I was blown away by it. I
felt like I was moving back in time. So this story is about my experience at Jamal Afna Square, a cosmic symphony. Jamal Afna, the pulse of my heart. Your air is perfumed with incense mixed with the smell of grilled meat. Motorbikes crisscrossing pedestrians. Blind beggars sing song among flowing ropes, and snake charmers' circular arm motions bring me to you. On hot sunny days, you store me with a line of giant burgundy carts, with oranges stacked full in wire baskets. A young man in a white shirt pours me a tall glass of orange juice. Lizards, scorpions, oils, bones, and dried animal parts in translucent skin of camels' kneecaps are the playthings of blue-turbaned Berbers. Let me smell the burning sage and muse at your aphrodisiac Berber Viagra. Let me see the henna patterns you carry in your hands, O women of Jamal Afna, and watch out for your needle-pumped fool ready to squeeze a design on my arm. Late afternoon cookout. Plumes of smoke rise from pots of boiled lamb heads, spiral shell snails, and spicy harira soup. Arm-grabbing men with menus run down the list. Fish, shrimp, calamar, beef, chicken, mixed grill, tagine, pastilla, aubergine, and free mint tea, you know, Moroccan whiskey. Come, sit down, right here, big welcome. Jamal Afna, I'm mesmerized by your circles of people, the passionate speeches of men and acrobats somersaulting on hard grounds. I'm drunk after a cup of hot ginger tea that softens my stiff Chinese upbringing and lets me dance. Dance to the relentless drumming, to the rhythms of Africa, in the center of the universe where life is a cosmic symphony that goes on without end. A cross-section of Africa gathered around the performers, an amalgamation with a single intention, to be entertained. They were mostly men. Their skin color varied from light roasted almond to deep midnight. Some wore kufis and jalabas, but most of them wore casual cotton shirts and pants. They stood close to each other with little expression, carrying small change in their pockets for the end of the shows and for anyone who came up to them with an outstretched hand. In one of the big gathering circles, a stout man with a red bandana plucked his banjo and sang passionately. Behind him sat a chorus of drummers, boisterous, echoing and bouncing musical phrases at each other. Then all at once, as if the musicians noticed the audience for the first time, they saluted the crowd. The banjo player urged everyone to make a tighter circle, teased them for crossing their arms to protect their pockets. The chorus agreed and started praying to Allah. Perhaps money would descend from heaven. The banjo player walked slowly in front of each spectator. From the compressed bodies, money imperceptibly changed hands. Now he became more vehement, threw the few dirhams he collected on the ground, and preached with profound gesticulation on the art of generosity. I looked around to catch glimpses over the shoulders of men as the circle was 4 to 5 people deep. One of the drummers discovered me. He waved cheerfully and gave me a chair to sit in the front. In one of his rounds, the banjo player came close to me and whispered, "Would you like to hear Berber music?" I noticed his face, rugged with furrows. He smelled of dust and sweat. Yes, I would. He stepped away and continued with his sermon, but suddenly burst into song. A couple of old women nodded their heads and clapped with the music. Just as everyone was getting into a groove, the banjo player stopped and started his speech again. I motioned him over. If I give you 20 dirhams, would you kindly play a longer piece? No, he said, smiling. No. I suddenly understood his preaching was part of the act. Across from this big production, a young woman sat with an ancient man on a piece of cardboard. The old man looked like a dark chocolate sculpture with deeply wrinkled skin and perfectly toothless gums. He was plucking on a small lute that was hardly audible, and his partner tapped on a makeshift drum. I put a dirham on their tray. Suddenly the duo became utterly animated, as if they were wind-up dolls. The old man puckered his mouth, his eyes twinkled like a child's, and strummed the instrument madly. Messiana, Messiana, good, good, I clapped. Shukran, shukran, thank you, the young woman nodded happily. A singular voice distracted me. I broke from the couple and searched for the voice. It was coming out of another big circle. Men were packed shoulder to shoulder. Here on the outer ring, a gruff-looking old man stood motionless, leaning against a biker whose foot was frozen on the paddle. I paused next to them and craned my neck to see what was happening. A storyteller was stretching his tongue. Unlike most of his counterparts who wore colorful robes and turbans, this one dressed plainly, in shirt and pants. He had no prop. The audience was intent on a monologue. Men's jaws were loosened, their eyes hardly blinked, mesmerized. These people might have been standing here for hours, days, or maybe centuries, bound by the magic of words. At first, he articulated each syllable slowly. His voice rose in increment as the words gathered momentum, soaring rapidly to a high point, then trailed like a kite tail in the air. He paused, marked the silence, turned and suddenly exploded. A long string of rhythmic verses followed the outbreak, sizzled as if they were in a pot of fire. The storyteller put his hands to his head. His eyes were wild but steady. His focus was directed to one man in the crowd. The man looked confused, having been singled out. The storyteller spoke with earnestness to the man, sometimes entreating, sometimes harsh. He put his fists together and made believe they were shackled. He threw out a question. No one answered. He grew irritated and asked another question. 100 eyes stared back. There was a look of triumph on the storyteller's face. He knew he had his audience. Now, he could mold and shape their hearts and minds, knock their wind out, or drive them into a dizzy frenzy. The storyteller's voice spiraled and pounded in my direction as though he was questioning me. His husky and seductive litany touched a darkness that was lurking as I saw myself coming upon a solitary adobe hut, small, round, ashen against the night. As I walked toward it, the storyteller's voice turned strident. I can't go in. There's no door, no window. It's a funeral mound. He was now whispering, urging. Our eyes met. I stepped back.
Thanks, Claire. Let's all give another hand to Claire. So now it's time for our raffle, which is usually a raffle where we draw cards and then you can come and choose one of these books or magazines. But I thought I'd just hold each one up and anybody who wanted it could have it. Is that all right? Is that all right, Greg? So I've got the magazine, and there's something else I don't need. So here's first we have Eden's Lost, by Sumner Locke Elliott. Anybody want it? Looks like fiction.
Some of these books are.
Yeah. This looks like it's a Reader's Digest condensed books. Secret Project. I don't know any of these books, but you could come up and take a look. Would anybody like a mini feature for next week?
I'll take it.
Oh, good, yay! Chris, all right. This one is the mini feature. You have to come next week.
I know.
Okay, I'm going to skip mathematics. Incredible Tale by Johnson. I think I'll just leave these up here. And there's a couple of magazines too, Sierra and Audubon, major magazines. And that's it. Oh, wait. And Clara just donated Songs of Innocence. Okay.
That was from last week.
Oh, from last week, okay.
What is it?
This is Karen Melander Magoon, who was our feature
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
She was a singer before she was a poet. So there's these, and she has on there a piece by Frank Poulenc, Benjamin Britten, and Mussorgsky. Sounds good. Very good. So, to conclude, will everybody come up here, and the camera is rolling. This is all being put on the internet by Ustream. Will everybody come up here, and we're going to wish Dan Brady get well. Come on up and get us all in the picture.
And Don Brennan and Aura.
Yes, and Don Brennan is in the hospital with pneumonia.
Oh, no.
Kaiser Hospital. So let's all turn around and face the camera. And we're just going to wave to Don Brennan. Come on, Darren. And Dan Brady and say, get well soon.
Get well soon.
Come back soon, we need you. Bye.
All right.
Okay, thanks everybody for coming. See you next week.
So while you're up here, help yourself to one of these wonderful prizes.
Yeah.
How long did you stay in Morocco?
The longest time I stayed there was 2 weeks.
This is Chris Trent. So I'm going to put that on here.
I can see this.
All right,
Yeah.
that's good. Wet, so that's why they put it back.
I promise I am working on mine. I'll see you next week. If you get a good offer.
Well, no. How much you got?
I don't have any with me right now, but
Okay.
would 50 still work?
Yeah, 50 is what's gonna work.
Okay.
I'm holding it for you. You wanna take it home?
Oh, no, it's fine. Just wait.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna wait on you.
Yeah. Yeah, but he gets around.
Yeah. And he gets, the later stuff is real thoughtful. It still has it. Have you read,
Ask Stephanie.
the one that they wrote, the autobiographical? This is what he said when you made a movie of his life.
Oh, the.
I'll always take a national.
Yeah, no, not the bar, well, yes.
Water,
it's
always take a national.
Hollywood? So I haven't read Hollywood.
Because it got good pictures.
It's really good.
It is
It's really good, 'cause it's kind of like,
Yeah.
takes everything he's done, and puts it together. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'll have to
It's
check it
really
out. 'Cause,
good.
like, I had focused on his poetry, and then my friend got this for me for Christmas.
Yeah, his novels are really good.
Yeah, I really
Yeah, have you read Post Office?
have you? That's excellent.
It's great, because, you know, he worked at the post office for 20 years.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm
Funny
very
about
sucky.
how messed up it was.
You know, I've got
He
a
waited a
thousand
long time
books,
before he got.
you know, that we never
Yeah,
unpacked.
he was-
And I tell them, Deirdre, this give them on the street, man, because, but
That was the first time I
interspersed
really,
with the bad ones is an
Oh, really?
occasional good one. So it's a night.
You know, you have good work, and you're,
And by the way,
more confident where you're good.
Deirdre, thank you very much for those books. I love them. Okay? Yeah, she's kind of slow on the phone call. I gave them to her for her
Come back,
birthday.
please do, use your friend.
Since I know you're coming next week.
Yeah.
You gotta have young talent lined up.
She's doing better.
She's doing better. She's got yeah, she had a procedure, she's been in a lot of pain, but she's got real good doctors. They've given her 3 prescriptions of pain medication. And listen to this. She has Medi-Cal, so she has copay. Usually she gets her pills and the copay is like $4 or $5. Well, for some reason, the copay on 40 Percocet, 16 cents. And then it went up, the last one was 28 cents. Now, I think that's Obama.
Maybe, because my dad just got a prescription for $3 for
Yeah.
because I've never heard of it.
Yeah, no, I think,
That's
you know,
fantastic.
I take it all back, you know, because I get frustrated with him, but I take it all,
Something is working.
I take it all back, man, because
$3?
you
I mean,
know,
my dad has Medicare, but $3?
I know.
60 pills? That's
I know.
fantastic. That's what it should be.
and me and this guy, this kid that works in the store, you know, we're just cracking up. We're like 16
That's
cents.
That's good.
You guys gotta be.
And you know how much money they've been making.
Yeah. So, you know, and it's just starting, you know. They won't let him do anything any good, you know.
Of course not.
He's got his heart in the right place. And
Well, hopefully this will last. Thank you, Greg. I saw this on just.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of in the neighborhood, I had to do a CPR class, so I thought, okay, as soon as I get out of CPR class, I'll get over here, but I did get over here, it was just like.
Were you doing a ride back?
No, I'm good, I actually got a different part of the spot, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I started this job, I was doing the super express,
You heard about Don?
That's what I didn't know.
When is he going to be able to come here? Nobody knows, huh?
He's in the hospital. He
It
has
was-
pneumonia. Both lungs.
In both
Both lungs, yeah. Oh, yeah, and he's trying to take care of Laura. She had the first surgery.
Yeah, that it went well.
Hey, Gary, you want to ride?
Right.
From the youth, yes.
Because I'm kind of, we're getting out
Much
early.
better than the last time I saw her.
Okay,
Which
yeah.
she didn't look good at all. She's getting better. But he is in a hospital. He's at Kaiser on Geary. I'm not sure if I have time to go.
Looked great. You guys looked great up there.
Did we look good?
Yeah, you look good, actually.
Thank you so much.
You all fit, too.
We all
It's
fit
quite
together.
amazing.
Hopefully he
I just pulled the camera back and we could see everybody. It was nice.
Yeah. Everybody
I really appreciate you doing this, man.
Oh,
I
sure.
mean,
I'm just
I
trying
mean,
to
it's
figure
just.
out, I'm trying to figure out a way I can do this from Europe.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I've got it now, I can turn it
Can
on.
I give you my card?
No, I think you did once before, but I don't know.
I'll give it to you again.
But, I've got this thing now that works over the internet anywhere, so I can put the camera on at 4 o'clock when I'm here after school. Just go home and sit there, and when you guys start, I just click a button that starts, and click a button that stops. I don't even have to be here anymore.
You have a pen?
Pardon?
You have a pen, do you?
I usually have a pencil.
Okay.
Stop. Stop recording now.